Hi, this is Isha the Mad Scientist with the Air Gigs blog, and today I'm going to show you the top 5 beginner Pro Tools mistakes. I see these issues come up time and time again, so even if you don't think you're a beginner anymore, stay tuned for this video. Your mix engineer will thank you. Let's dive into it. Okay, the first problem that I see happen a lot is that people choose the wrong sample rate and bit depth while they're creating their session. So when you have this window to create your session, which if you're not seeing, you get to by going to File, Create New, down here we have our bit depth. Some people record at 16-bit. That really just makes it low fidelity and makes it so you have less headroom. There's really no reason to do that. Occasionally, some people use 32-bit. I find that it makes the session files too large, and I don't hear a difference. So I stick with 24-bit. That's my recommendation. Next, we have the sample rate. Now, some people will record at 96K or 192 because they think it's going to sound better, and then they find them having a lot of trouble getting their computer to work properly and getting a lot of errors. And so I would recommend working at 44 or 48K. 44.1 is what used to be the sample rate for CDs, and 48K is what is used for DVD and sync. So that's generally where I work these days. Mistake number 2 that I see happen a lot is that people are recording to their system hard drive. So once you create a session, it's going to prompt you for where you want it to be located. And if you are recording on your Macintosh hard drive or your system drive on a Windows machine, it was often called the C drive, that's going to be Pro Tools recording audio to the same hard drive that's trying to run your operating system. You are going to often encounter playback errors, and Pro Tools will run a lot smoother if you create the session on an external drive or a different internal drive. So I have a Pro Tools drive called Pro Tools Sessions. So I'm going to put this here, and I'll put it in my Air Gigs folder. The name, you want to name your song before you start recording it, and then you're going to hit save. The third mistake that I see happen all the time, which is like a crime in my opinion, is just not naming your tracks. So when you go to start recording, you're going to make a new track, and it allows you to name it right here. If you leave it saying audio 1 and then you hit record, it's going to name the audio file audio 1. And that's going to make it really hard to find if you lose it. Plus, if you end up having, 8 tracks and they all have no names and you're just recording, it is going to be extremely confusing as to what is what. So before you even press record, you're going to want to name your tracks. And if you missed it in that window, you can always double click the track name and then give it a name like kick drum or, guitar, whatever it is that you're recording. Okay, on to the next tip. Number 4. A lot of times, people just simply don't know how to change the tempo in Pro Tools. It may sound silly, but I see this come up all the time. So there's the best way to do this, if you're only going to have one tempo in your song, which is usually the case, you're going to want to make sure you're at the beginning of your session. You can do that by pressing Enter or Return on a Mac. See how my cursor is now at bar 1, beat 1? Now we're going to click the plus button next to tempo. Now if you don't see this tempo bar here, it may be hidden. Then you need to come down to this drop down arrow up here, click that, and make sure that the tempo box is checked. So if you do have the tempo and you're at the beginning of your session, you simply click the plus button here and it says tempo change, and then you can enter in the BPM right here. You just type it in and then hit enter. Common mistakes I see is somebody trying to be in slip mode and change the tempo, not have snap to bar selected, and trying to change the tempo. And then you're going to end up with weird timing issues where this bar makes no sense and then it's suddenly a new bar. The other thing is that sometimes people don't have this conductor ruler on and they just change the tempo in here, which is a good way to do it when you're still trying to find the tempo. And here's a little bonus tip. If you click on the tempo here and then while you're listening to your beat, or your guitar part, dum-di-da-dum, you can hit T on the keyboard, dum-di-da-dum, dum-di-da-dum, and that is going to give you your tempo. Once you've found that, though, I always recommend turning the conductor track back on, pressing return to get to the beginning of your session, hitting that plus button, setting your tempo, and hitting OK. All right, the 5th tip, not using playlists. I see this happen. People don't even know playlists exist. And then what happens is that you end up with a lot of different tracks and it's so much more difficult. For example, you might have like lead vocal, take 1, and then lead vocal, take 2, and so on. And then when you're trying to choose the best bits, you're like copying and then pasting, and sometimes you end up not being in the right spot. So this audio that's supposed to be here ends up over here. If you don't know how to use playlists, shoot me a link down in the comments. We could do a tutorial video all on playlists. But real quick, let's say this is our lead vocal track. I've named it lead vocal track take 0.01, and I'll record. This is the first example. And then, when I'm ready to record my second take, I will click the drop-down arrow to the right of the track name and click New Playlist, and then I'll hit Enter, and it'll automatically be named Take 0.02, and I can record again. This is the second example. And so on. Then, when I'm ready to make a comp track, I would go, again, New Playlist, and I would call it Comp. And then I would go into my playlist view. So it currently says waveform here. I would click that and go to playlist. Then I can see my different takes. I would listen to this by hitting the solo button for that. And then I can solo this one. And whichever one I like is the one that I can promote with these up buttons. So you would highlight the take that you like, and then press up, and now this is on the comp track. If I like this part from this take, I can press the up button there. If you're interested in diving more into playlists, let me know. I will create a more detailed video tutorial. Okay, I'm going to give you guys one more bonus tip. And I say it's a bonus tip because it's not necessarily a mistake, but it is a helpful tip. So for this one, I'm going to switch over to the mix window here. And a lot of people will create their reverb by going to the inserts and going up here to insert a reverb. But if you have 12 vocal tracks and they're all doing different reverbs and your computer's not very powerful, it's going to start getting hung up and you're going to get errors and not be able to record. So what you want to do is go to sends instead and click on the send and then go to new track. You're going to make it a stereo aux track and make this your vocal reverb. And then you insert the reverb on this track. Now, if you want to control the level to how much you send to the reverb, you click on the send, and then this is your send here. So now I have reverb. If you want to add this to other tracks, let's say I have another vocal track, an easy way to do it is to hold Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC, click on this reverb send, and just drag it over. And if this vocal needs a little bit more or less, you can click it up or down here. That allows you to send all your vocals to the same reverb. It's going to save on processing power, and it can also make them kind of sound like they're in the same space, which can sound quite a bit more musical. If you need help with anything else, please look me up on AirGigs under Isha the Mad Scientist or username Daypass137. I offer a variety of services including mixing, mastering, vocal tuning, editing, Pro Tools lessons, and many more. One more thing, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. Okay, those are my top 5 Pro Tools mistakes that I see happening again and again. Let me know if these were helpful to you or if you thought these were silly down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.